Hi boys and girls. This is our lesson on multiplying whole numbers by fractions. We've been talking a lot about multiplying whole numbers and a little bit about multiplying by fractions. We talked also a little bit about this word of here, fractions of a number. We dealt with some problems that look like this, these one-step problems, 1/2 of 40 or 1/2 times 40. We talked about the word of meaning multiply. But in the real world, we don't really see problems like this so much. We have to act like detectives when faced with real world word problems or situations where we have to come up with this part of the problem on our own. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So let me show you an example of what I mean by that. Here's a word problem. At Christmas, I baked 64 cookies. I gave 1/4 to my parents, 1/4 to a friend, and kept 1/2 for myself. How many cookies did I keep? All right, so that's a little more realistic than just seeing something like 1/4 times 40. Well, how do we do this? We need some kind of strategy that'll help us break down the problem and understand it, and then create a plan of action to solve the problem. So let's talk about a strategy that I have for you today. The strategy today is called a bar model. This strategy is where there's a drawing, and this drawing helps you find a solution and understand why it makes sense. There are two things to remember when using a bar model. One is that one bar equals the whole value. So that's why I have a bar here equaling the whole. One bar equals the whole value. The second thing I want you to remember is that the word cutting, when I say the word cutting a bar, I want you to think about the operation division. I'll say that a lot today, so those two things are very important to remember. All right, let's talk about the cookie problem that we read in the beginning. Just to refresh ourselves, I baked 64 cookies, gave 1/4 to my parents, 1/4 to a friend, and I kept 1/2. How many cookies did I keep? All right, so thinking back to the bar model strategy, one bar equals the total. Okay, the total. I also use the word whole. Total and whole, in this case, are going to mean the same thing. The total number of cookies we can see at the top here is 64. So I'm going to take that 64 and I'm going to write it down just so that I don't forget that that's my whole or total. So this bar here represents 64 cookies. Okay, now I gave 1/4 to my parents, 1/4 to a friend, and I kept 1/2. How many did I keep? Well, the final question is how many did I keep? So I'm going to focus on this fraction here. I kept 1/2. 1/2. 1/2 of what? I kept 1/2 of the 64. So if I want 1/2 of this 64, what am I going to do? I'm going to cut that 64 in half. And in the beginning I said don't forget that when I use the word cutting in half, that's going to mean division. So when you cut something in half, what are you doing to it? You're really dividing by 2. So we're going to divide 64 by 2. Let's do some mental division here. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So half of the 64 is 32. 32 what? 32 cookies. So do I have enough information to answer my question? Let's see. How many cookies did I keep? I kept 1/2. Here's the 1/2, 32. So I kept 32 cookies. What I really like about this bar model is that it also helps you prove and explain your answer. It can also help you check your work if you make sure to label everything. So let's see how that works with some other problems. This next one is a little more complicated. It says Jim wishes to buy 3 gifts that cost $15. I'm going to fix our dollar sign here. $9 and $12. He has 1/4 of the money that he needs. How much money does Jim have? Okay, well, just like in the beginning, I need to know what my total is. Let's look at this again. Do I have a total? Jim wishes to buy 3 gifts. Okay, there's a total of 3 gifts that cost $15, $9, and $12. He has 1/4 of the money that he needs. How much money does he have? Okay, well, it looks like we're talking about money. So our total is going to be these 3 numbers. Oh, there's the extra computation. What am I going to do to those 3 numbers to get the total? Well, to find the total, I would add those 3 numbers. So 15 plus 9 plus 12. Okay, so add my ones. I have a 2 plus a 9 plus a 5 is 16. And add my tens, but I have an extra one now. 1 plus 1 is 3. So my total is 36. I'm going to bring that over here so I don't forget. 36 what? He needs $36. Okay, so my bar here represents $36. It says that Jim has 1/4 of the money that he needs, or 1/4 of 36. We need to find 1/4 of our bar. How are we going to do that? Well, if you want to find 1/4 of something, you need to cut it into 4 pieces. So I cut it in half, and then in half again to get 4 pieces. Remember, to the beginning, I said cutting the bar is also the operation of division. This whole bar was 36. What did I do to the 36? I cut it or divided it into 4. So 36 divided by 4. What's 36 divided by 4? I should know my facts. My facts tell me that 36 divided by 4 is 9. $9. So 1/4 is $9. So then this 4th would also be $9. Okay, so how much money does Jim have? He has 1/4. Well, what's 1/4 of 36? 1/4 is $9. All right, so there was a little extra work there. It wasn't just the bar diagram. We needed to calculate our total. A few extra computation skills that we needed in there. So let's try another one that's a little tricky. To change things up just a little bit, I want you to read this problem to yourself, pause the video, and try to solve it on your own. If you need to, rewind the clip to pick up some tips to help you. All right, try your best. All right, boys and girls, I have a feeling that you did really well. This is a tricky problem, so let's go over it together. Richard signed 3/8 of the Christmas cards. If there are 32 cards in all, how many cards are left to be signed? All right, first things first, we need a total. Do we have one? Look at the problem. 3/8 of the Christmas cards, and that doesn't sound like a total. If there are 32 cards in all, in all, I know from previous experience that in all usually means the total. So yes, there are 32 cards in all. So our bar here represents 32 Christmas cards. Okay, our final question is, how many cards are left to be signed? Okay, well, we need to know what's left. Well, what are we given? We're given what's actually signed. So we need to find what 3/4 I'm sorry, 3/8 of 32 is, to figure out what's left. So let's figure out what Richard signed. 3/8 of 32. Okay, well, I'm used to the unit fractions, like 1/8, 1/4, 1/2. When I dealt with those, I would cut the whole into the same number as the denominator. So I'm going to do the same thing here. There should be 8 pieces in my whole. So I cut it in half. In half again would be fourths. And in half again would be eighths. So now my bar is cut into eighths. Okay, what does cutting mean? Cutting the bar is the same thing as dividing. So I started with 32. I cut it into 8 pieces, or divided by 8. And my facts that I know tell me that 32 divided by 8 is 4. 4 what? 4 cards. Okay, 4 cards. So I divided into 8. So each of these pieces, like this one right here, would be 4 cards. And this one also, and so on. I could check myself right here to make sure that I did the right division. How many 4s do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could multiply 4 times 8, or I could add all those 4s together. Either way, ends up being 32. So we're good so far. Now Richard signed 3/8. Each of these is an eighth. He signed 3 of them. I'm going to do some labeling here. Do you see how I pointed out 3 of the boxes? Because it's 3 out of the 8 that he signed. And I'm going to label that Richard. Well, how much is that? How many did he sign? 3 4s. Well, I have 3 4s, so that would be 3 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12. So Richard signed 12 cards. Okay, my final question is, what's left to be signed? So if Richard signed those 3, we have what's left. Here's what's left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 boxes of 4. 5 of 4. That would be the same as 5 times 4. 5 times 4 is 20. So look at that. Just by labeling, using brackets, making sure I have my units, my answer is right in front of me. How many cards are left to be signed? What's left? 20 cards are left to be signed. And again, the great thing about this bar diagram or model is that it shows you every step of the way. It shows you your parts. It shows you things that are labeled. It shows you exactly how the number is broken down, so you could use this for your explanation or your proof. And it would help you check over your answer. I hope you guys are excited about this new strategy. I know I am. All right, you're on your own. See you soon.